I'm in Mid-City, New Orleans with Arthur Hardy. He is a Mardi Gras scholar, at least that's what I think of you, and the founder and creator of the famous Mardi Gras Guide. So thank you first for having us in your home.
Happy to be here.
So Arthur, you are all things Mardi Gras. I got to tell you, what made you the self-anointed Mardi Gras scholar?
I think luck more than anything else, really. Somebody had to do it, and I enjoy what I do. You know, Mardi Gras is just, I think, the greatest thing New Orleans has given to the world, and to be a part of it and to chronicle it is just, it's been a gift.
So tell me why you decided to found the Mardi Gras Guide.
You know, there was a need for it. When I was a kid growing up, if you wanted to know about tonight's parades, you bought this morning's paper. If you wanted to know what's going to happen next Monday, you had to wait till Monday morning. And we figured, you have a TV guide to lay out a week's worth of television viewing. Why not a Mardi Gras guide to do the same thing? Simple concept that somebody smarter than me should have thought of, but they didn't. So my wife and I did, starting in 1976. First issue was 1977. And it was a critical success. People said, man, this is hot stuff. But it was a financial disaster. You know, we printed 5,000 copies and only sold 1,500 and foolishly burned the rest of them. And I wish I had them now because they're bringing top dollar on eBay.
So now they're collectibles. But the Mardi Gras Guide started as a passion project, a labor of love, and you stuck with it.
And then it became a business and a very successful one. But it was not an overnight success. It took years. My wife likes to say we were more stubborn than smart, but we stuck with it, and eventually it became a very good business.
And speaking of being a very good business, it was recently acquired.
Times-Picayune has purchased our magazine. I have a 3-year agreement to continue to run it for them and an option to continue later on. So they're doing all the heavy lifting. I'm getting to have all the fun, write the stories, interview people, and it's just been a joy.
So congratulations. What started as a critical success has now become a bona fide business endeavor. So let's talk about the origins of Mardi Gras. I introduced you by calling you a Mardi Gras scholar. For the uninitiated, how did Mardi Gras begin here in Louisiana?
Really, and when you tell people this, they say, where do I join? That church is connected to religion. You know, the Catholic Church basically said that people who were kind of getting a little crazy, you know, we're going to give you a period of time to celebrate. And that celebration season is called Carnival, from a Latin word carnivale, which means farewell to the flesh. That season begins every year on January 6th, the Feast of the Epiphany. And it's a season of merriment, but it ends on Mardi Gras, which is French for Fat Tuesday. So the church basically said, okay, you all can party on for a while. However, midnight Fat Tuesday starts Lent, Ash Wednesday, so that's when we pay for the sins of the past. So it's really a farewell to flesh. It's the feast before the fast. And our version came from France. In fact, this year is the 325th anniversary of Mardi Gras coming to North America. French-Canadian explorer Iberville was coming up the Mississippi River March 3rd, 1699, and he knew it was Fat Tuesday back in France, so he named the spot that he camped out at Pointe du Mardi Gras and the waterway Bayou Mardi Gras. And that's how it came to North America. And then much later on, when New Orleans was founded, in the mid-1700s, there were parties and, you know, no real parades, but minor celebrations. So it really began in 1699, a long time ago.
So originally Mardi Gras started out not as the float parades that we have today. It started with people taking to the streets.
Exactly. In fact, the first parades were costume maskers going to masquerade balls, walking down the street in costume to go see a ball. We had balls before we had parades. The first real Mardi Gras parade in New Orleans is February 24th, 1857. A group called the Mystic Crew of Comus started it all. So we had one parade. Now we have more than 60 in the metro New Orleans area, and of course throughout the state of Louisiana.
So when we talk about parades, we have what's called the so-called old line parades, and then we have the newcomers.
Right.
What's the distinction?
Well, the unique thing about Mardi Gras, you know, we hear about diversity and inclusion and equity and all that. There's not a more diverse celebration on earth than Mardi Gras. There's something for everybody. There's old-style parades that if your grandfather wasn't a member, you can't get in, no matter how much money you have or how important you are. And there are new parades that anybody can join. And even from the spectator standpoint, you can participate. And really, there are no spectators at Mardi Gras parades. We become participants because the thing that separates our parades from those elsewhere are throws, the idea of free gifts to the crowd. And it's a horrible business concept. Why would an adult person spend $1,000 or more dues for the privilege of getting on a float? Then we make you wear a costume and a mask so nobody knows who you are, and you have to give away gifts to strangers. Who does that? We do that. We do it every year. It's a wonderful gift. Great for our soul, great for our community, and great for our economy.
So let's talk about the throws,
Yeah.
because a lot of the parades have signature throws.
They do.
Let's hit the highlights of some of the more interesting ones.
Well, the first signature throw is the Zulu gilded coconut, and that's been around since 1910. And they can't be thrown because they're heavy, but they're handed out. Muses does a shoe each year, a decorated shoe that the members will work on year round, and again hand out to people. Most organizations tries to find something unique to them. And it's become a really big business. People have become kind of jaded now. They just don't want beads. They want something that says the parade's name on it. But it's a great industry and a whole lot of fun.
Yeah, so the themes and the throws are all kind of one-upping each other,
Yes,
right?
they are.
Which in turn drives the economy. So let's talk about the economic contribution that Mardi Gras makes.
Just this year, on January 6th, Tulane University professor Tony Weiss released an economic impact study. It said Mardi Gras produces almost $900 million each year in the economy. For every dollar the city of New Orleans spends, it gets back $2.68. So it's what community wouldn't say, I'll take that. And a unique thing about Mardi Gras is we don't have to bid on it like a Super Bowl or Olympics. We don't have to pay any fees. It's ours. Now, it's on a different date each year, but it's ours. And speaking of that, Fat Tuesday can fall as early as February 3rd or as late as March 9th. This is an early season this year with Fat Tuesday, February 13th. Next year in 25, it's on March 4th. So we go from a short season to a long season. I like a long season, more opportunity to sell stuff.
So when we talk about the New Orleans Mardi Gras, we're actually not just talking about Metro New Orleans, right?
No, it's grown all over the state, and our Lieutenant Governor Billy Nungesser has done a great job of promoting Mardi Gras in other parishes, and in fact our magazine now has expanded to cover those other parishes, and it's celebrated in different ways in different places, but it's all Mardi Gras. But of course, for me, being a New Orleanian, this is Party Central.
All right, well, to ask an obvious question, purple, green, gold.
Yep.
Why those colors?
One of the few official things about Carnival are the colors. Rex really introduced those, his first parade in 1872. Probably that flag and those colors were chosen because it followed the rules of heraldry, which says a medal, gold must be in the middle, or some sort of medal. Purple, 20 years later in a parade called Symbolism of Colors, Rex told us purple stands for justice, green for faith, and gold for power. One of the very few official things of Mardi Gras. And you see those colors everywhere around New Orleans, starting on January 6th, ending on Ash Wednesday.
First there was Mardi Gras. Next came Lundi Gras.
Well, it wasn't called Lundi Gras when it started, although that is French for Fat Monday. 1874, Rex's third year in existence, Rex started arriving on a steamship the day before Mardi Gras and had a little military parade to City Hall where he got the keys to the city. And that went on until World War I, until 1917. Then it completely stopped. For the 100th anniversary of Rex in 1971, as one-off, they did a similar thing, landing on a Coast Guard cutter, one time only. Then in 1987, a gentleman named Errol Laborde, who was the editor of New Orleans Magazine, came up with the idea, why don't we start this all over again? Got the city to agree to do it, got Rex agreed to do it, the Riverwalk Shopping Center at the river, the end of Canal Street agreed to host it, and it began anew. And now it's a full all-day celebration. But there were years when Monday was just a dry day where you got ready for the next day. Now it's wall-to-wall celebration.
We talked about a little bit about your childhood, but tell me as a child growing up, what was your favorite parade?
My favorite parade was the first one I saw, Mid-City, which actually rolled just blocks from where we are now and blocks from where I grew up. And I would catch that parade every year. And it was something magical about it. And, I've been in business almost 50 years, and at some point I thought, All right, enough already. But every year when I hear the bass drum coming, the police, Mardi Gras makes children of us all again. And, if we could just keep that magic year round, people get along so well on the street. You're killing each other for throws, but if that guy's grandkid did, you hand it off. And there's and it's not Chamber of Commerce speak, it's true. There's such like a brotherhood on the street. People just hang out. And every year you see the same people on that same corner. You might not even know their names, but hey pal, how you been? How's the kids? And that was what was so special about the first Mardi Gras after Katrina, when the city was still in shambles, and we did Mardi Gras because we wanted to. Nobody could make us do it, and people showed up on the streets, and you didn't know if Fred wasn't there because he was in Dallas or if he had drowned. That was an emotional Mardi Gras. People held up signs, "Thank you" to float riders instead of "Throw me something, mister." Best Mardi Gras ever. And it was a special time, but it showed the world, we're down, baby, but we're not out. We chose to celebrate rather than surrender. And it was a special time, and every year is special, but that one really sticks out in my memory.
So Mardi Gras is salve for the soul. I mean, it really is
it's no
a
doubt.
cultural force, but
Yeah.
a community builder as
Yeah.
well. And a lot of charitable endeavors come out of Mardi Gras.
The Rex organization announced 2 days ago that they have now given out $14 million since Katrina to charter schools. And I don't remember who wrote this, but it was something like, some cities hide their treasures or protect their treasures in museums. New Orleans shares theirs on the streets, and that's true. That's what Mardi Gras
Well,
is.
speaking of treasure, we have a little treasure of you, a little mini me of you.
This
do we
is
not?
crazy. Haydell's Bakery is one of the biggest shippers of king cakes in the city. Each year does a ceramic doll, and this year I'm one of 2 dolls. I'm honored to be inside the king cake. So it's nuts, but it's very flattering.
So Arthur Hardy, you have arrived.
How about that?
The day that you have your own king cake doll in your likeness,
I'm much appreciative of this honor.
congratulations and
Thank you.